On to go with Joe. Take 3, 4, 5. I don't know. 6, 7, 6, 7. Welcome once again to On the Go with Joe. I am Joe Schnablo, a United States Marine combat veteran, retired New York City police officer, as well as a former prosecutor from the Queens District Attorney's Office. Currently, I'm running to be the next supervisor of the town of Hempstead, America's largest township. We're super excited. This is our first full-length episode, and we have an amazing guest today, Jacob Dixon. He is the leader, CEO, founder of Choice for All in Roosevelt. And you're going to find out about his projects, Long Island, LI-RTAC, during our conversation. Incredible guy. He ensures that no community is left behind. But first, let's talk. Just you and I, once again. We asked you to ring Joe and let us know, and you guys did. So for that, thank you. 484-RING-JOE. That's 484-746-4563. And you could call for anything. Honestly, you got beef with the town? Call us, let us know. You got beef with me? Call me, let us know. Let's hash it out. This is about you and for you. We started On the Go with Joe to make local politics more accessible to you. We, the politicians, need to be more accountable and transparent with you. One of the comments we received is from @RockVideoPhotography6054. He shared with us, you forgot to add Don Clavin left the town of Hempstead supervisor position to take another job within the town of Hempstead. That job was for $120,000 no-show job at a building that was shuttered down. Look, you're absolutely right. We did not mention what happened with Don Clavin and how John Ferretti was illegally appointed and were found guilty of violating the law, eroding public trust. But one of the things that is misrepresented in your statement is that he was being paid $120,000 a year for a no-show job at a shuttered building. It was closer to $180,000 a year at a shuttered down building. And he had to shamefully resign and quit his job because there was so much public scrutiny against him that these political insiders were taking care of themselves and having these backdoor deals outside of the presence of the public. And no, we're not going to let this go, and I'll tell you why. What they did not only erodes public trust, but it cost you money. We're going to continue to hold them accountable. That's why we sued the town of Hempstead. That's why the current town supervisor was found guilty of violating open meetings law, because he knowingly, willfully, and intentfully broke the law and had these meetings behind closed doors out of view of the public, which I guess politicians are supposed to do. That's why we're not going to stop holding them accountable for putting political insiders first and not the people. Our next comment is from our inbox, but this comment isn't just limited to the inbox. We've received numerous messages from all different platforms in regards to the snow removal from this massive storm that we received approximately 3 weeks ago. And from the inbox, it says, "Hi, Joe. If I was you, I would be taking pictures of the terrible job that was done plowing the snow." I appreciate you reaching out. Thank you for the comment. We have received numerous pictures about the snow removal, or lack thereof, for a better word. We actually conducted a poll, and many people participated in it, and 25% did say that yes, there was a good job done with snow removal, but 75% said no. Let me be clear. We did receive a massive storm, and I saw the town employees out there working, and they worked tirelessly. They were out there day and night trying to improve the road conditions and the streets for us. This isn't a worker issue. This is a leadership management issue. And what happened was the leadership in the town of Hempstead failed to continuously communicate with the people, nor did they listen to them properly, right? And we could break this down based on zip code, because you could see how there were more complaints coming through in certain zip codes than others. So the town workers, I saw you out there. I was driving the streets and I was driving around. You were working tirelessly day in and day out, and you continue to do so. We need a better plan from our leadership, and we need to make sure that our leaders are continuing to communicate with us after a massive storm of this nature comes through our area, so that we know what to expect. Set that expectation. let us know what's going on, and continue to communicate with us in regards to cleanup and snow removal. That's not what happened. Underneath our leadership, we will make sure that that happens. Thank you so much for that question. We've received a lot of comments on all our social media platforms, in our inbox. I just want to say thank you for reaching out. Thank you for your excitement during this campaign. We look forward to your continued support. Please go to Joe for the Town of Hempstead website, joefortownofhempstead.com. There's going to be a box where you can click to help volunteer. There's also going to be, which I've realized earlier on in 2025, the importance of raising money during a campaign. So there is a donation tab on joefortownofhempstead.com. Please, whether you want to volunteer your time or you want to give a couple dollars to our campaign to make sure that we can get our message out and meet as many people as we can, we really appreciate it. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for the overwhelming support that has poured out for our campaign. Thank you. A lot's happened within the past week, so let's get right into it. Blakeman is officially the GOP nominee for governor of the state of New York. I know it's hard to say that without laughing, but it's true. And I'm sorry. How are we supposed to trust him when, as county executive, he couldn't even do the job that he was elected to do? Fix the broken assessment system. Instead, it's costing us money and time to go out of our way to go to these seminars funded on taxpayer dollars. Think about this. They're hitting you in your pocket more than once. So you're going to these taxpayer-funded seminars on how you could reduce your property taxes when County Executive Bruce Blakeman promised to fix the broken assessment system. It's bananas. It's nuts. It doesn't make sense. This is once again a career politician who is focused on the wrong things, who is focused on political insiders and not the people. Look, make no mistake, my opponent has the same agenda as Blakeman. They're one and the same. They don't care about fixing what's broken. They care about maintaining power and control, no matter the cost. Even if it costs you money. They don't want to fix a broken assessment system. That's not their goal. They just want to tell you things that aren't true. Like, for example, in the town of Hempstead, taxes went up over 12%. That's true. But this political theater and this political game that my opponent's playing by falsely telling the public that he's reducing your taxes by 18% is a lie. It's just not true. And it's important you know this. It's important that you know the person that was found guilty of an illegal appointment to the town of Hempstead is lying to you about the finances. He thinks that you're going to believe by taking $5 million from a reserve fund, which we've been warned not to do, it could risk our AAA Moody's bond rating, and you put it into a general fund, that's an 18% tax decrease. That's not. The levy remains the same. What he's doing is he's playing a shell game with your money. And he's trying to wrap it up in a nice bow and tell you it's an 18% tax decrease. That's disingenuous, it's a lie, and it's part of the problem in the town of Hempstead and the leadership that we have. We need leadership that takes care of the people, and we need leadership that is going to be for the people. I didn't receive any messages on how low people's taxes have gotten. I did receive a message that there was one resident whose escrow bill went up $3,000 more a year, and I think that's important to note. So not only did my opponent, under his watch, like make no mistake, he can't distance himself from that. The town of Hempstead taxes went up over 12% under his watch. And you want to know why? Because of the same reasons why he's telling you he's lowering the taxes. What they've been doing for the past numerous years is they've been dipping into our reserve fund and putting it into a general fund so the levy remains sane and remains flat. They couldn't do that anymore. They needed to raise your taxes. They're playing dangerous games, dangerous, dishonest games with your money. And the people have the right to know. It lacks all transparency, and they're not holding themselves accountable for the misinformation and the lies they purport onto the people. And it's just got to stop. It's not right. I just want to recap a little bit, something important that happened at the last town board meeting. The town passed an extra tax exemption for disabled veterans. And the state legislature actually passed this bill last year. Governor Hochul signed it into law this past December. So I do appreciate the town of Hempstead following Hochul's leadership in regards to helping the most vulnerable veterans among us. The town of Brookhaven wasted no time. They opted in right away last month. And I know that the town of North Hempstead has it slated in their March meeting to pass this much-needed law. So just a shout out to the town supervisors for following Hochul's leadership in regards to supporting our veterans and making sure the most vulnerable veterans among us are taken care of. Today is President's Day, and it's important that we reflect on the presidents of the past and the leadership that they've provided to this great nation. But it's also important to note the failed leadership from the current administration and from our local leaders. And the fact that they failed to condemn an overtly racist post by the President of the United States is a failure of leadership up and down the board. And look, it's important to celebrate Black History Month. It's important, especially in the town of Hempstead, to light up the clock tower and celebrate it. But it's also important from our elected officials at the same time not to remain silent. Silence is complicity. It's cowardice. And that's not from me. That's from posts from Facebook messengers and users online. But it is. Our elected officials, our leaders, John Ferretti, needs to come out and condemn the president's racist, overtly racist Truth Social post superimposing Michelle Obama and Barack Obama's faces on apes. This is low-hanging fruit. It's easy. If you need help in denouncing racism wherever it is, let me know. I'll help you, John. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of our program. We have our first guest ever, Jacob Dixon, who truly embodies No Community Left Behind. Jacob Dixon is the founder and CEO of Choice for All. It's a nonprofit organization located in the town of Hempstead, which services over 22 different zip codes. It's secured millions in funding that enhanced educational and health initiatives across the town of Hempstead. It focuses in financial empowerment, youth organization, and community leadership. Choice for All is set to open the Hagedorn Hub. It's a multi-purpose facility for families and social justice this year in Freeport. In addition, Jacob is an adjunct professor for education, as well as the center director for the Long Island Regional Technical Assistance Center for Pre-K and Early Childhood Education. But for our long sake, we're going to refer to this as LI-RTAC. Our campaign slogan is No Community Left Behind, and there is no better person to have as a first guest on our show than Jacob Dixon. And before we get into the questions, I just want to say I've had the pleasure and opportunity of meeting you last year. Yeah. And I've said this before, not in front of you, of course, but there's people that you meet in your life, that you meet just once, and they will last for eternity with you. You remember them to your core, just because of the energy and what they're doing and their mission in life. And Jacob Dixon, you are one of those people for me, honest to God. So I thank you for that. You inspired me, you motivate me to do better and be better, so thank you. But we are honored to have you here today. And you are a powerhouse in the community, and you ensure that the most marginalized among us have representation and have the resources that they need. All too often people ask, like, you know, and I'm not even sure how to define it, what a public servant heart is. You exude that. You are what a servant leader is and what a public servant's heart is. That being said, I'd like to know what experience has helped shape you the most, and how did it lead you to serve people in the community and or both?
Yeah. Well, first, thank you for the opportunity and space. I welcome anyone who believes in the importance of the township, and most of all, in the entering into the arena of politics, knowing how difficult that can be, but making sure that the people are in the forefront of all that we do. So I appreciate the opportunity to even be here. Thank you for having me as your inaugural guest. That's cool. At the same time with it, my entry into public service is actually my great-grandparents. They were the legacy builders. My maternal great-grandparents were the co-founders of what's now the Islip Town NAACP.
Wow.
And so through First Baptist Church in Bayshore, they were the gurus that be able to put it together. My two eldest cousins on that side are still the matriarchs of the family. They're still lifelong members of that. And so that was where public service was really displayed at. On my paternal grandparents' side, they did a lot of advocacy work in Panama. That's where my father is from. And so seeing those realities of the civil rights work that they've gone through there and the influence of the U.S. and its impact, that's where I kind of saw a lot of those early on at a young age. But the most formative experiences will probably be my own parents advocating for me as a student with learning disability. Seeing their level of advocacy at school board meetings or at committee on special education meetings to make sure that I had the services and resources. I can remember my father in one of those meetings as well. I didn't understand what was going on at a really young age, but I knew something wasn't right, per se. And I didn't know what this word or phrase, education and equity, meant, but I knew that in my own hometown, in Roosevelt, where I'm born and raised, that what it is today as far as what we have wasn't necessarily the case when I started. And so having to go to East Williston, which is where I ended up graduating from and being there since 4th grade, and recognizing the tale of two worlds is when I started to realize that things were different. And I wanted to make some form of a change to recognize that why couldn't my own friends in my own backyard have the same things that I did, that I had to take a 20-minute bus ride to get through. So that's really where I saw my public service started to come from, and that's always been my anchoring story, at least, or to go to remind myself of every day that, you know, not everybody is as fortunate, but as equally as well shouldn't have to have a level of disparity that right here in Roosevelt, my life expectancy is 70 years old, but right across the bridge from Merrick is 82, and not know why, and realizing the community conditions behind it. So just seeing all those pieces together, I had a lot of elders that speak into me. So realizing that as well and telling those stories as well.
But how young were you, like, when you remember your parents, like, advocating for you at a young age?
Had to be 12
like,
was probably
like
the
12.
Yeah, 12 years old was probably the first moment that I realized of what advocacy meant, or me going to a meeting and seeing my mom in front of a podium speaking in front of the school board and seeing those things. So.
No, it's amazing too, but you had to go to East Williston because the services weren't provided to you in the district that you were in.
Correct.
Now imagine those kids that don't have those parents that advocate. I mean, it's just fitting that you're actually those voice for the voiceless, or for those who don't have that voice right now. So that's absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate it. What was the biggest difference, just out of curiosity, that you've seen or noticed between, like, the East Williston School District and your own?
I mean, visibly, I was the only black student in my class of 180. I ended up being class president for 4 years with my locks. So even to see it through, my best friend is a multicultural person as well. So, like, I you know, my emergence into diversity was very different. But I also went to Variety Children Learning Center, which is what it was now, but it was Variety Preschool Workshop. And I was with students that, you know, had amputees, or there were those who were on there. So my exposure to what people look like from a very early age was different. So my nuance or my acceptance of things were vastly different from others, because I just knew that just because you were in a wheelchair doesn't mean that you weren't as well off or wasn't as valued or respected as a person as someone else. And so that to me was important. So I think it was just the early exposure of understanding different walks of life that, you know, allowed me to be more, I guess, of a well-rounded person and believe in the importance of public service. So.
Yeah. No, thank you for sharing that, dude. It's amazing. That being said, in the most simplest kind of terms, breaking it down Barney style, what is it that you do? For the people who are listening, right? Family Choice for All. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so Choice for All is a nonprofit organization that I started 15 years ago this September.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And the organization's mission is to connect services, resources, and opportunities for young people and their families to thrive, to reach their fullest potential and way they see fit. So we provide services, and we also do leadership development around education, health, and financial stability. So whether that means we are working with you in after-school programs, whether we are representing you as a parent for special education advocacy at no cost, whether that means we are helping with our farmers market or our access center where we're providing fresh fruits and vegetables, or a food pantry or a clothing boutique that's available for the community, that's gently used clothing available. Or it can be that you're accessing our financial empowerment services where we're helping people with credit and savings and asset at no cost, or you're looking for resources to stabilize your family. So that can mean rent and mortgage relief. That can mean that you're helping with heating utility assistance. Just yesterday, I was working with United Way of Long Island. They actually hosted a whole event with us around Project Warmth to help with oil deliveries and heating assistance. So it's a multi-purpose center that once you enter to our agency, whether it's through us or through one of our partner agencies, that your family is able to get the support it needs to thrive. So that's really
So within these past 15 years, you've really established some deep-rooted partnerships.
Absolutely.
To be able to expand your services. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up, I got to meet you when you were hosting an event,
Yes.
which seemed like you had the whole Marriott rented out. Like, there's people from all over,
Yeah.
every walk of life. Can you just share to me?
Absolutely.
Can you just share with me and people listening, like,
Yeah.
what was that event about?
Right.
How did you bring that together? Collaborate with your partnerships that you've made.
Absolutely. So one of the key partnerships that we work with is through the Long Island Regional Technical Assistance Center for pre-K and early childhood education. It's a long name that we say the LI-RTAC for. And really the goal of that center is to increase access, quality, and delivery of universal pre-K and early childhood programs on Long Island. Because in comparison to New York City, where virtually every child has access to a pre-K seat, and now we're seeing these large announcements around 3-care and 2K and all those pieces of it, 3K and 2-care, in Long Island, we have 126 school districts that each get to decide whether or not they have a UPK program. So the center was established because there was just a need among schools and CBOs, but there was a need among families to have working families to get back to work, and also making sure that childcare was affordable. So the center was established to figure out those partnerships. So through the Childcare Councils in Nassau and Suffolk, the 3 BOCES, and a statewide partnership with CUNY, through Professional Development Institute, we host annual gatherings. So the one that you actually came to was the first of its kind. It was a statewide convening that also included Help Me Grow New York, along with other state partners, in creating a Stronger Together Summit. And that was the first summit that we were able to bring families, educators, pediatricians, and other key stakeholders to really talk about what does it take to make an early coordinated system, and not just talk the talk but walk the walk. Like, how do we provide resources to families at the same time?
We were just talking about that. A lot of people talk the talk, right?
Yeah.
but I'll even put it in context in a different way. Like, you've been there, done that, and you literally have the T-shirts, right? Like you've done that, and over the past 15 years, you've expanded these partnerships. So this is going to go into my next question, right? Look, there's always a lot of bureaucracy, red tape, and stuff that's in the way.
Right.
If you were the leader of the town of Hempstead for a day, and you could get rid of the red tape and the bureaucracy and all the, you're gonna have to bleep this, that surrounds making a difference in your community, what would it be? What would you do?
That is a very good question. My heart tells me, and where my spirit's going to lead me to, is I would hope that we would be able to create a culture and a vision within the town of Hempstead that actually actualizes bipartisanship in a way that enables our residents to all feel that they are a part of the town. I am from a community, Roosevelt born, to where about 16,000 people. We're rich in so many different ways. But I also believe that we have at times been missed out on certain opportunities that I think I would be remiss if we did not have the same level of access in comparison to other communities within the township, whether it is complete streets efforts, whether it's working with improving our local parks, kitchen table issues that I think matter. And so it's not to say that there have not been any achievements. I don't want to say that that has not been done, because I think there are things that, if you look within the span of 20 years, there are things within our parking lots that we knew that needed to be refurbished that we were able to get money for, and things happen. So there are results, but do I think they have been as consistent as we wish we could be in comparison to others? I don't necessarily believe that. And if I was that person where we could remove the red tape and actually sit down and talk through and strategize, I would say that that would be one thing to make sure that all of us have a part in it. And more importantly, I think our last time we've done a visioning plan in our community has been more than 2 decades ago.
Wow.
So I think it's time that we need to revamp and relook at that over again and say, where are we before? And I think with 20 years, I think our community has grown in a lot of ways. How do we recognize that? How do we build on that? And how do we grow? And so I look forward to whoever is there in terms of doing that, that we can really connect those dots together and figure out a real strategy towards action.
Yeah, no, I mean, whoever is there, and not that, I'll just take an opportunity. This podcast is open to everybody.
Yeah,
These aren't
absolutely.
right and left issues we're speaking about on this podcast.
Yeah.
These are right and wrong stuff. These are issues that are meant to empower and improve the quality of lives within all our communities, not just the ones that have been politically connected for so long, right? Because you could see how certain communities have kind of been forgotten for a little too long.
Absolutely.
So, and look, I'd be remiss not to say, especially in the current political climate, I think it's important that right now it feels as if what makes us diverse is what people want to divide us.
Right.
And I harken back to like my days in the Marine Corps, where the differences among us is what kind of united us for a common goal and a common good.
That's right.
And I aspire to get back to that kind of leadership and governance someday with any politician. That being said, John Ferretti, you're welcome onto this program anytime. We can sit here and have a beer together. Despite our differences, we should be uniting and leading by example. So it's open to everybody to come here and speak with us. Years from now, what do you hope people you've served will say you've helped them build to help unify the town of Hempstead? Look,
That's a good question. The reason why I hesitated a little bit is because not even really because of the question, it's because I think I've always recognized that this work is beyond me. And so my hope is that they feel like they had a seat at the table. If not, I helped them build their own table. That's really the goal.
That's awesome.
That's really the goal. Good. I don't feel, it's not my place to be able to say I did this. It's really, I was able to get them the wrench, the screwdriver, the table parts, whatever it was, so them to build it out so that they can do what they need to do.
Dude, true public servant. You're a servant leader.
Yeah, it's never been about, what I was able to do. It's more so of what we were able to do together with that. I mean that wholeheartedly. So,
dude, that's why I'm honored to have you on here, because we need to highlight people like you who do the job in the community for nothing, for no other reason than to uplift others, right? And to improve their lives. And you see the importance of that. So thank you for that. Look, lightning round we're going to be going into. But before we do, you were talking about building, and I was asking you, how do you unify and strengthen a community town in Hempstead? You have a project that you're currently working on at the Hagedorn?
Yes, Hagedorn Hub.
Hagedorn Hub.
Yes.
Can you just take before we go?
Absolutely. I appreciate you bringing that up. I think my board will be.
I hope I didn't go into a direction that I wasn't supposed to.
Absolutely.
But if you could, because it's just another chapter of what Choice for All is doing.
It is.
And I think it's important for the community to know this.
No, you're totally right. I have to be honest. I started the organization from the basement of my parents' house. So to go from there to what the Hagedorn Hub project is now, is a 3-story community center that we're building on Main Street in Freeport. Wow. That is dedicated through earmark funding from Amy and Horace Hagedorn and the Hagedorn Foundation.
Wow.
They were able to spearhead specific communities that were designated towards it. Roosevelt and Freeport was one of those borderline communities that they wanted to have some form of a community center in the space of their own, and through a community revitalization effort that led into our organization, we were able to bring in close to $3.5 million.
Wow.
Between not just the foundation, but other private and public funds. We still have a brick campaign, so anyone last minute that wants to get a brick to be able to have their name stapled on there. But the goal of that is supposed to be a center for families and social inclusion along that.
How would they get that brick? Where would they have to go to get that brick?
Yeah, they go on choiceforall.org, and if they click on Hagedorn Hub, that's right on the top of the page. There's a whole list of things that they can do. They can pick whatever size they want. They can have different descriptions of it available, and we're still taking them as we speak to help be able to bring it into fruition. So hopefully, if not by the end of 2026, right at the beginning of 2027, we should be in there.
Congrats. You just don't stop. You just don't stop.
Listen, I think that's the last piece for me right now. I say that, but then everyone looks at me like I'm crazy. But I
have a feeling there's going to be more Hagedorn hubs.
We'll see. But it's a blessing in the sense to be able to have that as an opportunity for our communities to come together. So the third floor is going to be a social enterprise space for food and access. Our second floor is going to be a shared nonprofit space, so folks who are working around social justice advocacy can have an office space and a dedicated resource. And then the first floor will have a early childhood space, a after school programs, a workforce development program, and a few others. So we're excited.
Well, thank you for just continuing to give back nonstop.
Appreciate it.
We are going to go into a lightning round.
Okay.
We're going to just shout out a couple
quick
questions.
Ready.
And mind you, there's no wrong answer. Like you could say abracadabra to all of these questions, and it would be fine.
Nah, I'm not gonna mess you up like that.
Look, real quick, we'll start off easy. Leadership in a couple words. What is it?
Leadership in a couple of words. Understanding your purpose for people.
I like that.
Yeah.
This one's an easy one.
Okay.
All right. Because I think about this lately, because it's the current political climate in which we live. But what would you prefer? A servant leader or a leader that expects to be served?
A servant leader, because you should already know what you're expecting from the people who you have. Your goal is not to be served. Your goal is to be of service to other people, and I think part of that is you should be able to understand your community and where you come from. So I think anybody who has that spirit and heart and mind should already know what they're doing with that.
Yeah, you should be able to understand the whole community.
Yeah,
not just
one part.
No, I agree.
Absolutely.
With you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Now to uncover the secret questions.
Okay.
In the back. What is an example of your choice, first person who comes to your mind, like for leader, to be a servant leader? What's like when you think of a servant leader, what's the first person that comes to your mind?
Oh gosh, it's a two-part answer. I'm sorry, it's my parents. Yeah, I can't do one without them.
Shout out to mom and dad.
Yeah,
shout out to mom and dad.
They're the ones that see.
All right.
Yeah.
Look, I mean, you have to give them a shout out.
Yeah. But they were my example. All
right.
If there was anybody else, it would have been my siblings, but there's too many of them. There's four brothers and one sister, so they get their own shout out later on.
All right.
Yeah,
we'll give siblings don't get a shout out today, but another day. Mom and dad, this day's for you. Yeah. 3 words. 3 things the town of Hempstead needs.
Transparency, accountability, and actually, I wouldn't have a third word.
And you could say another word twice. Yeah, I love that.
Honestly, I think it's just those 2.
All right.
Yeah.
Your ideal lawmaking leader.
Actually, a person who is people-driven, who actually understands the nuance of playing the balancing act. It's really hard to be able to navigate multiple ideas, perspectives, and allegiances, and sometimes that can influence which way or decision you want. So I want someone who, at the end of the day, can take all of the different concepts and ideas, make the tough calls when need to be, but then other times be able to say, look, this community that I stand by believes in this, and this is the ideal that I'm going to vote, even if people agree or disagree with it.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what drives policy, because policy is about people, not necessarily about rules and regulations. And
policy is about people. I love that. You're right. Lastly, very lighthearted, best pizzeria. Give your favorite pizzeria shout out right now, because I'm going to do mine.
Oh my gosh. Romero's.
Where's Romero's at?
Freeport.
Romero's in Freeport. All right.
That's the go-to. Yeah, that's the family staple.
Family staple. Yeah. Romero's in Freeport. I'm gonna go with Dario's in West Hempstead.
I'm very familiar.
Yeah. It's a lot of it's the thing right now. I guess. I jumped on the Dario's band, but they're excellent. They're excellent. But I'm gonna try out Romero's. I'm gonna give a full report. Good. Yeah.
Let me know. I'll hold anybody to it. So.
You get the next 30 seconds uninterrupted. Anything you want to share before because right after this, I want you to give a shout out to like where we can find you on social media, what platforms you're on. I know we have choiceforall.org.
Okay.
But 30 seconds, whatever you want the people to know about you, Choice for All, and
oh goodness, you gave me 30 seconds. All right.
I give you more. 33.
No, listen, I appreciate it. I think. The main purpose of why I do all that I do is to make sure our communities are well off. And the goal is that no matter what zip code that you come from, every child and every family is supported. And so Choice for All is here to provide that resource, that service, or that opportunity for you to be able to reach your fullest potential. And so we are grateful that for 15 years now that the community has trusted us, from one program, which was special education advocacy, no cost, making sure that kids just navigate the systems and getting what they need, to now over 18 programs and 200 people annually across that. And that's, not to a testament to myself, but to my team. So I want to say thank you to them, along with our board and all of our supporters near and far who just believe in the mission, the work, the impact that we do. So they could find us at choiceforall.org. If they look at our Facebook, our Instagram, our LinkedIn, it's all at Choice for All as well. It's FOR, not the number 4. That might get confusing to some people. And then in addition to that, if you want to reach us out for more info, just to contact us as well as 516-544-2955, and you hit any of the extensions, or especially extension 0, it'll get to any of our team members, and a simple phone call can help, change your life in some way, shape, or form. So
I appreciate you. Look, thank you so much for coming on. I think it's important to highlight you do so much behind the scenes that people don't see and get to hear about. So we are honored to have you part of our inaugural podcast, because it's so important to highlight people like you, and you brought up your team. I appreciate you saying that, because none of this is possible without the support system, without the team members that we have, right? Because that's how we make things happen. So shout out to Choice for All's team. Shout out to everybody that's helped uplift you during your journey.
Absolutely.
And let's keep this man going. He's got more work to do. Thank you for coming on.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
That was a great conversation we just had with Jacob. Clearly, he is somebody that embodies no community left behind. It's insightful to see the Hagedorn Project and how important it is to maintain this bipartisanship to ensure that we can get resources into our community. We look forward to sharing with you about his next projects and Hagedorn and anything that he has coming up in the future. But I'd like to get to a real serious topic right now, and that's my scarf. What's the deal with my scarf? And I know it may not be that important to you, but there's been too many comments on my scarf. So I just want to take a moment, and I'm going to walk over to my gear over there, and I'm going to grab my scarf. And I'd like, again, we talk about some serious stuff here. We talk about politics. We talk about what's going on in the world. We're not scared or shy away from serious issues. But let's have some fun for a minute. My scarf. For whatever reason, people have gravitated towards my scarf. So Please, whether you like it or hate it, I need to know because it's sitting over there. Let me grab it. And for whatever reason, people have commented on this plain gray scarf. And I don't know why, but I'd love your feedback on why people are commenting on this scarf. It's a scarf. I think this is the way I was wearing it. Maybe, maybe not. What's the big deal with the scarf, guys? I mean, some people love it and some people hate it, but now I just need to know, like, oh, what do you guys think about the scarf? It's gray. It keeps me warm. That's all. On to go with Joe. Just a random little clip, and I think it's still recording, but last week I had my mountain warfare training zip up on, and I kind of referenced this to our guest, you know, been there, done that, got the t-shirt, which is true with a lot of the stuff I wear. This is from when I was in law school. I participated in a VLAP program, which is Veterans Legal Assistant Program, where we provided free legal services for any veterans who were out there in need of help or needed legal assistance. Hofstra University, Hofstra Law School has a great program. Please, just giving a shout out to the VLAP program at Hofstra. If you're a veteran in need of some legal services, reach out to their clinic. I actually worked and participated in it, and they do great work. So, Semper Fi, on to go with Joe. Please be sure to share this episode. We're always available to watch on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts.
When he says some people love it, can you write on the screen, no, they don't?